Welcome to Perfect Search Media. Today we're going to be walking through SEO 101 and the SEO 101 training deck. We'll be walking through what SEO is, what determines and is a part of SEO, some of the SEO core algorithms, and what SEO looks like today. So first we want to touch on what does SEO stand for. It stands for Search Engine Optimization. And the core kind of three purposes are traffic, so gaining traffic to your site, keywords, improving your keyword portfolio, and then finally ranking, so where you're showing up on the search results, whether that's Google, Bing, or Yahoo. Before we dive into some of the specifics, it's important to kind of understand how search engines work. So we like to think about what a user might be searching for, the searcher's intent. So here we have someone thinking about purchasing a chair, specifically an accent chair. So we want to kind of understand how they might be looking up a search of this nature in order to do keyword research. So in this instance, they're looking up accent chairs for bedroom. And then on the bottom there, that image kind of shows that with every search, Google's algorithm impacts what searches are going to appear at the top of the results. So with every search, as we mentioned, there are keywords and searcher intent that are involved. So for a product page on Wayfair.com that's selling accent chairs, that user might look up accent chairs for bedroom or cute accent chairs or more specific of a color, blue accent chair. So we want to kind of take into consideration the types of searches that they'll be making that will drive our keyword research. With that said, there is also long tail keywords and short tail keywords. As an agency, we tend to focus on longer tail terms. So that is a keyword that is typically 3 words or more versus a short tail that could be 1 to 2 terms. So here we have an example on the left of a short tail term, accent chairs, versus long tail accent chairs for bedroom. While the more general term, accent chairs, likely has a higher search volume, the intent of the user looking that up likely is not as confident that they're going to purchase it. They don't know what type of accent chair, what color, and so although search volumes for longer tail terms might be smaller, the intent and the conversion rate is typically higher. And we also see that those longer tail keywords tend to be less competitive as well, since they're more specific. And then from there, after we have hopefully optimized that page around this long tail term, for this example, accent chairs for bedroom, the ultimate goal is to gain traffic. So a user actually going from this Google search to our website. So you can see at the bottom here, below the ads, that accent chairs you'll love Wayfair post. They'll hopefully select that and begin searching through our website. Another aspect of SEO is UX, which stands for user experience. This has a lot to do with design, and we've seen, especially recently, that UX and SEO are becoming more and more hand in hand. You want to make sure that you have a strong user experience and a design that is conversion friendly. So now going over the benefits of SEO, the purpose of SEO, we have some of these listed out here. So number 1, increasing traffic, like we mentioned, and also conversions. So a conversion can be any KPI that you find important. If you're an e-commerce website, that could be transactions or revenue. If you're a school, that could be apply online clicks or the number of applications that you get. It also increases your visibility on the results page and also improves your branding. It improves long-term positioning for that website, as well as exposure to new markets or new audiences, expanding brand opportunities, and then finally gaining brand authority and reputation. So some stats that we can quickly touch on. So organic search equates to roughly 95% of all web traffic. Around 70 to 80% of people are actually ignoring those paid search results, those ads that you typically see at the top and the bottom of any search. So skipping right over those, choosing to only click on organic search results because they find that more trustworthy. With that said, 67% of all clicks are going to the first 5 organic results that you see. Most people don't even click to page 2 of Google. It's usually within those first 5 that the majority of clicks go to. And in 2019, 52% of all worldwide online traffic came from a mobile device versus 45% from desktop. And then finally, 75% of internet users never scroll past the first page of search engines, as we mentioned. And on the right-hand side there, you can see a heat map of how a user engages with web pages, and also on the far right side, a Google search, with the red being the most clicked on and the blue-purple being the least clicked on. So you can see that kind of trails off the further down you go on the page. So now touching on the share of different search engines, the latest data shows that 75% of users are utilizing Google. Following that is Bing at 9.97%, Yahoo at 2.77%, and then Baidu, which is a Chinese search engine, at 9.34%. So now to touch on how search engines actually work. So we like to break it up into 4 different sections. The first 2 are more technical SEO, so the crawling and the indexing. You want to always make sure that before you start on some of the more traditional optimizations that you might think of with SEO, you lay a really strong groundwork technically. So we'll touch on some of those projects later, but making sure that your website is built in a way to rank well. From there, once they crawl your website, they index it or have it show up in Google, and then they will rank it. So this is the more traditional optimizations, whether it's keyword optimizations, metadata optimizations, content creation. They determine how high quality your content is and how relevant it is in order to figure out where to rank it. And then finally, number 4 is convert. So this is the most important aspect. Once you have users landing on your website, you want them to convert, whether that's make a purchase or apply to your school. So that's where that UX, that user experience, really comes into play to make sure it's as conversion friendly as possible. So touching on some algorithms, I know we touched on this in the beginning. Over the years, there have been tons and tons of algorithms and algorithm changes by Google, and we can touch on a few of those. On the right-hand side, you can see some animals, so those actually stand for some of the algorithms that have occurred over the years. A few to talk about: Panda was the first main algorithm change that happened, that Google started to penalize websites that were showing duplicate content. So they would have tons and tons of pages on a site, all with the exact same content, with the hopes that that would improve their rankings. So before this algorithm update, that would work and they would actually rank really well. But after Panda came into play, they were penalized for that. Penguin is another one to talk about. This focus was on backlinks. A backlink is anytime a website or a blog post links back to you in an article or whatever it may be. A strategy back in the day before Penguin was to purchase a lot of links from spammy websites. The goal was quantity over quality, and that would really help your authority. But after Penguin, you again were penalized for that. And Google now looks for quality backlinks that you've gained naturally. And then the final one we wanted to talk about is Hummingbird. The focus here was on keyword stuffing. So kind of the final black hat SEO strategy to talk about is before Hummingbird, webmasters would write essentially the exact same keyword over and over and over again for Google to pick that signal up to rank well for whatever that keyword or keyword types you wanted to focus on. So before Hummingbird, that would work. Afterwards, you were again penalized for that. So how to actually optimize. So there's 2 main types of SEO methods to optimize your site: on-site and off-site. So on-site optimizations are any optimizations that directly relate to the content on your website, the user experience or the UX, and then the website analytics. So this is important for page authority. It also sometimes called PA. This is a metric that was created by Moz, which is an SEO powerhouse. They have their own tools. They have a blog, but your page authority determines on a scale of 0 to 100 how well they believe you will rank in the eyes of Google on a page-by-page basis. And then on the other side of that, we have off-site optimizations. So this is any optimization indirectly related to your website, whether it be building those quality backlinks that we talked about, being listed on directories, improving your site health. And this is important for domain authority. So similar to page authority, it's on a scale of 0 out of 100, but it looks at your domain as a whole. So some vocab to be aware of. First, clicks. So clicks, impressions, CTR, and average position. Those 4 on the left. Those are all metrics that are extremely common in Google Search Console. So these are metrics that Google actually pulls directly from the results page. So clicks would be the number of clicks that you receive on a specific web page. So if you have a careers page and 76 users click to that page, that would be 76 clicks. Impressions are the number of eyeballs that saw your listing in the results page. So if you have 76 clicks, you could possibly have had hundreds of impressions or even thousands, but they haven't actually clicked on it. And then that click-through rate is the amount of people that saw your page and actually clicked onto it. So it's clicks divided by impressions. And then the average position is it relates to rankings. So if you have your homepage and for some queries, you're ranking around position 10, others position 1, others position 76, that average is going to be your average position. And then on the other side there, we have 4 more. So backlinks, I know we touched on that. That is anytime a website links back to you, whether they talked about you in an article or a blog post, that would be considered a backlink. Your equity or your authority, that kind of goes hand in hand with that domain authority. So determining how well you would rank in the eyes of Google, how quality of a website you are, that would be your domain authority and your page authority. Indexed would mean if a page is or is not showing up in Google's search results. And then SV, that final one, that is search volume. So the amount of average searches for a given keyword in a month. And we use a variety of tools to pull those search volumes, which we'll talk about in a later training. So some more recent SEO trends to talk about. BERT, this is one of the latest updates that really focused in on the intent of keywords. Google wants to continue to become smarter and smarter and understand a user's search like a human would and not a search engine. So this is one of the largest algorithm shifts that has occurred in years. So focusing on how users talk about their issues, problems, and needs at each aspect of the buyer's journey and incorporate that into your content strategy. So on the right, you can see one example before and after BERT went into effect. So a user was searching 2019 Brazil traveler to USA need a visa. And before this, it would show an article about how U.S. citizens can travel to Brazil without a visa, but now they can understand that the user needs a visa to travel. So this focus really heavily on content, and how SEOs can kind of optimize for this is to continue to create really high quality content that answers a user's needs. Another trend, voice search, is becoming continually more and more important. And by 2020, almost 30% of all searches will be done without screens, whether that be with an Alexa or your phone. 40% of millennials use voice search before making a purchase online. The average word count of a voice search result page is 2,312 words, so very long. And some opportunities, and that's how we optimize around them, are featured snippets. I'm sure you've seen at the top of the page, if you look up a question, sometimes a box appears right at the top of the page and you don't actually have to click into a specific website. That would be the featured snippet, otherwise called the answer box. So that is likely going to be the answer that Siri or Alexa reads to you. So optimizing around winning those is huge. Also, FAQ content and schema markup. We'll talk about schema markup in a later training, but optimizing your website for Google to understand which parts of your website are kind of a question and answer format and an FAQ format so that they can easily answer that question from users in Siri or Alexa. Next is Google's EAT guidelines. These are a newer set of guidelines that Google came out with. It literally stands for expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So search engines have begun to rely on EAT ratings when deciding how to rank a website and how to understand the authority of a website. So these set of guidelines and websites that adhere to them have seen a lot of success as a result of the recent algorithm update that actually happened in March of 2019, with the main emphasis being on authority. So any website wants to make sure that they're showing that they're the expert in whatever field that is, but this EAT update really heavily hit any website that is in the medical and legal space. Google calls it YMYL, which is your money, your life. So any website that impacts or gives advice medically, and then also your money. So if it's an e-commerce website or a website that can charge a user, that's where these EAT guidelines really come into play. So quiz time. What is on-page SEO? So I know we talked about on-page and then off-page SEO. So is it A, optimization practices that involve tactics in the content and source code? B, optimization practices that involve tactics such as social media or backlinks to boost your ranking? C, none of the above? Or D, optimization that focuses on the number of pages your site has? And that is A, optimization practices that involve tactics in the content and the source code. So optimizations that you can actually make directly on your web pages and website itself. That actually takes us through today's training. We hoped it helped and you got a strong base for what SEO is. Thank you.